The Starlight Cantina hummed with a cacophony of alien languages and strange mechanical sounds. Dim blue-green lights flickered across metallic walls, casting shadows on the diverse crowd of interstellar travelers. Jay Park sat alone, his fingers wrapped around a peculiar glass, looking like just another unremarkable human trader in the vast cosmic landscape. The cantina's atmosphere was thick with tension and exotic scents. Alien species from a dozen different star systems mingled, each group maintaining a careful distance from the others. Hovering service drones moved between tables, delivering drinks that ranged from luminescent liquids to thick, viscous substances that seemed to move independently. Jay's clothing was simple, a dark gray utility jacket with multiple hidden pockets, standard space trader attire that blended perfectly into the background. His eyes, however, were different. They moved constantly, observing every detail of the crowded room with a precision that suggested something more than a typical trader. When he signaled the robotic bartender, something unusual happened. Instead of ordering a standard drink, Jay began requesting specific liquid components from different sections of the bar. The bartender's mechanical arms moved with precise calculation, extracting containers from various temperature-controlled compartments. 3 liquids, each from a different galactic region, each with a unique molecular structure that most species would never consider mixing. The bartender's optical sensors flickered momentarily, almost as if confused by the unconventional request. At a nearby table, Hana Kim watched with growing curiosity. Her diplomatic uniform marked her as someone important, but her attention was completely focused on Jay's drink preparation. Something about his movements suggested more than just a random drink. Order. The first liquid was a deep purple, extracted from a pressurized container marked with Andromeda cluster symbols. The second appeared almost transparent, but shifted colors when light touched it, a rare chemical compound from the outer rim trading zones. The third was a thick, golden substance that seemed to pulse with an internal energy. Jay's hands moved with calculated precision. Each liquid was measured with an expertise that suggested scientific training rather than casual bartending skills. He wasn't just mixing a drink, he was conducting a carefully planned chemical experiment. Nearby patrons began to notice. Whispers spread across different species groups. Who was this human? Why was he so meticulously preparing a drink that defied conventional mixing protocols? A group of mercenaries in the corner stopped their aggressive conversation. Their reptilian eyes narrowed, studying Jay with growing interest. In the complex social dynamics of the Starlight Cantina, unusual behavior often meant potential opportunity or threat. Hana shifted slightly in her seat, her hand unconsciously moving closer to a communication device hidden beneath her diplomatic jacket. Something about this moment felt significant. The human trader was doing more than simply ordering a drink. The drink itself began to take shape. It didn't look like any standard beverage. Its surface seemed to shimmer, colors moving beneath. Its surface like living organisms. It was beautiful, dangerous, and completely unexpected. Jay remained calm. His face showed no excitement, no indication that he was doing anything extraordinary. To him, this was simply another moment in a vast, complex universe where survival often depended on understanding complex systems. The robotic bartender completed the order, placing the glass directly in front of Jay. For a brief moment, the entire cantina seemed to pause. Alien conversations dropped to whispers. Service drones hovered motionlessly. Even the background mechanical hum seemed to diminish. Something was about to happen. Nobody knew exactly what. But in that moment, a simple drink order had transformed the entire atmosphere of the Starlight Cantina. Jay picked up the glass, its contents moving in ways that defied standard liquid physics. He took a slow, deliberate sip, and everything changed. The drink's composition continued to fascinate Hana Kim. From her diplomatic training, she recognized something extraordinary in Jay's liquid mixture. Each component represented a complex molecular structure that most species would consider incompatible. The Starlight Cantina's background noise gradually returned to normal, but tension remained thick in the air. Jay remained completely still, his drink barely touched. His fingers simply traced the glass rim, creating subtle vibrations that seemed almost intentional. Around him, different alien species began positioning themselves strategically. A group of mercenaries near the back entrance started whispering among themselves. Their scaled skin reflected the dim lighting, creating shifting shadows that suggested hidden intentions. Hannah observed carefully. Her diplomatic training had taught her to read subtle environmental signals. Something was brewing, not just in Jay's drink but in the entire cantina's atmosphere. The mercenaries were not typical space travelers. Their armor suggested military-grade equipment, modified for close-quarter combat. Each carried multiple weapon signatures that registered just below standard legal limits. They were professionals who operated in gray areas of galactic law. Jay seemed completely unaware, or perhaps deliberately ignored their presence. He continued examining his drink, occasionally tilting the glass to watch how its internal components moved. To an untrained eye, he looked casual. To Hannah, his movement suggested calculated observation. A small robotic maintenance drone buzzed past, its sensors scanning the room. As it passed near Jay's table, its programming momentarily glitched. The drone's movement became erratic, suggesting some form of electromagnetic interference. Hannah's communication device vibrated softly, a coded message from her diplomatic network. Something was happening beyond the immediate scene. Regional. Tension reports were increasing across multiple star systems. The mercenaries began moving. Their approach was slow, calculated. They weren't directly targeting Jay, but creating a perimeter that suggested potential conflict. One approached a group of smaller alien species, clearly intending to intimidate. Jay's drink continued to shimmer. Its molecular structure seemed alive, moving in patterns that suggested advanced scientific manipulation. Each color shift indicated a complex chemical reaction happening beneath the surface. Two mercenaries split from the main group, positioning themselves strategically near emergency exits. Their movements were synchronized, suggesting military-level training. They weren't just travelers, they were a coordinated unit. Hannah's hand moved closer to a concealed communication device. Years of diplomatic training had taught her to recognize potential conflict zones. This cantina was transforming from a casual meeting space into a potential battleground. The smaller alien species began noticing the mercenaries' aggressive positioning. Fear spread quickly, creating a ripple of tension across the cantina. Service drones became more alert, their programming shifting to potential emergency protocols. Jay remained unchanged. His focus remained on the drink, seemingly unaware of the growing tension. But Hannah noticed something different, a subtle tension in his shoulders, a slight adjustment in his breathing pattern. He knew exactly what was happening. The mercenaries' leader, a large, muscular being with cybernetic enhancements, began walking toward the center of the cantina. His approach was deliberate, designed to create maximum psychological impact. Jay's drink continued its strange molecular dance. Its colors shifted from deep purple to golden yellow, then to a transparent blue. Each transformation suggested something more than a simple beverage. The cantina's background noise began dropping. Conversations became whispers. Movement slowed. Everyone was waiting, sensing something significant was about to happen. Hannah watched. Jay, her diplomatic training, screaming that this moment was more than a random encounter. Something extraordinary was about to unfold, and this human traitor was at the center of it all. The tension reached a breaking point. One more movement could trigger a complete cantina-wide conflict. And Jay's drink continued to shimmer, waiting. The mercenaries moved with practiced precision. Their leader, a massive figure with metallic augmentations along his spine, swept his gaze across the smaller alien species huddled in the cantina's corner. 3 trembling refugees, a translucent crystalline being, a small fur-covered creature, and a multi-limbed entity, shrank back against the wall. Jay's hand remained perfectly still beside his drink. No sudden movements, no obvious reaction. But something changed in the drink's molecular structure, almost imperceptible but definitely happening. The mercenary leader spoke, his voice a low mechanical growl. This sector is not for weak species. Payment or removal, those are the only options. The refugees looked terrified. Their communication was limited, a series of soft clicks and electromagnetic pulses that suggested pure fear. They had traveled thousands of light years to escape conflict, only to find themselves cornered again. Hannah watched carefully. Her diplomatic training told her this was a critical moment. One wrong move could escalate into complete violence. Jay's drink began to change. Its molecular structure started breaking down, releasing microscopic particles into the air. No one noticed except Hannah, who saw subtle shifts in the ambient atmosphere. The mercenary leader took one step forward. His cybernetic leg made a distinct mechanical sound, a warning, a threat. His hand moved toward a weapon concealed beneath his combat jacket. Suddenly, Jay moved, not quickly, not dramatically, just a precise, calculated motion of picking up his drink and tilting it slightly. The drink's particles spread silently. No one heard anything. No one saw anything. But something was definitely happening. The mercenaries began to slow down. Their movements became sluggish. The leader's cybernetic enhancements started malfunctioning, tiny electrical disruptions, causing his mechanical parts to twitch unexpectedly. Hannah realized what was happening. Jay hadn't just mixed a drink. He had created a sophisticated neutralizing agent. Each liquid component was carefully selected to interact with specific technological and biological systems. The mercenaries tried to move, but their bodies weren't responding. Not paralyzed, not injured, just temporarily disconnected from their full capabilities. Jay remained seated. His expression never changed. To anyone watching, he looked like a simple trader who had just happened to be drinking a strange beverage. The refugees noticed first. Their fear transformed into something else. Confusion, then hope, then a quiet sense of protection. Hannah's communication device registered multiple data streams. The molecular composition of Jay's drink was unlike anything in standard diplomatic databases. It was a perfect blend of scientific precision and unexpected creativity. The mercenary leader tried to speak, but his vocal augmentations produced only static. His team around him experienced similar technological disruptions. Weapons systems failed. Communication channels went silent. No violence, no permanent damage, just a complete neutralization of potential threat. Jay finished his drink, placed the glass down and looked up. For the first time, he made direct eye contact with Hannah. A slight smile played across his lips, not triumphant, just knowing. The cantina's atmosphere shifted. The refugees moved slightly, realizing they were safe. Other patrons who had been frozen in fear began to breathe again. Hannah understood then. This wasn't just a random encounter. This was a carefully orchestrated demonstration of human capability, not through violence, not through aggression, but through intelligent, precise intervention. The mercenaries remained frozen, their advanced technological systems temporarily neutralized by a drink that looked completely ordinary. Jay stood up, adjusted his jacket, and walked toward the cantina's exit. As he passed Hannah's table, he nodded slightly, a simple acknowledgement of what had just occurred. Outside, the spaceport continued its constant movement. Ships arrived and departed. Traders conducted business. Nothing suggested the extraordinary moment that had just unfolded inside the Starlight Cantina. Just another day in the vast, complex universe. The aftermath of Jay's intervention spread quickly. Through the Starlight Cantina, disabled mercenaries stood like frozen statues, their advanced technological systems completely neutralized by an invisible molecular solution that defied standard combat protocols. Hannah approached Jay's recent location, her diplomatic training demanding a closer investigation. The refugees, who had been moments away from potential violence, now looked confused and relieved. Their tiny forms, fragile and vulnerable moments ago, now moved with unexpected confidence. The robotic systems around the cantina began recalibrating. Service drones moved hesitantly, their programming struggling to understand the recent events. Electrical systems flickered, creating a dance of light and shadow across the metallic walls. "Who are you?" Hannah asked, her voice calm but filled with genuine curiosity. Jay had already positioned himself near the secondary exit, seemingly prepared for any potential follow-up confrontation. His utility jacket showed minimal movement, suggesting concealed equipment beneath the standard trader's outfit. The mercenary leader's cybernetic systems continued malfunctioning. Each attempted movement produced only sporadic electrical sparks. His team remained equally immobilized, not injured, but completely neutralized without a single physical contact. Other cantina patrons began whispering. Rumors spread faster than official communication channels. Some suggested Jay was a special operations agent. Others claimed he represented an unknown human diplomatic unit. No one could confirm anything. Hana's communication device began receiving multiple encrypted signals. Her diplomatic network was already analyzing the molecular composition of Jay's drink. Initial reports suggested a breakthrough in non-violent conflict resolution technologies. The refugees approached Jay cautiously. Their body language suggested a mixture of gratitude and remaining fear. The crystalline being extended a translucent appendage, a universal gesture of potential communication. Jay responded with a simple hand gesture, open palm, fingers spread, a universal sign of peaceful intention that transcended species boundaries. "You saved us," the fur-covered refugee communicated through a small translation device, without violence, without typical weapon systems. Hana observed the interaction carefully. This was more than a random encounter. This was a calculated demonstration of human problem-solving capabilities, not through traditional military strength, but through scientific innovation and precise intervention. The mercenary leader finally managed to produce a sound, a garbled electronic growl that suggested frustration. His technological augmentations continued malfunctioning, creating a continuous stream of electrical interference. Jay remained calm. His entire posture suggested someone who had done nothing more extraordinary than ordering a routine drink. No celebration, no dramatic speeches, just a matter-of-fact resolution of a potentially violent situation. Other species began approaching. Traders, diplomatic representatives, technical analysts. Everyone wanted to understand how a simple drink could neutralize an entire mercenary unit without causing permanent damage. Hana's communication device confirmed multiple data streams. The molecular composition of Jay's drink was completely unique. It represented a breakthrough in non-violent conflict resolution technologies that would interest multiple galactic research institutions. The refugees continued their grateful communication. Their initial fear had transformed into something else. Respect, curiosity, potential alliance. Jay simply nodded, accepting their gratitude without dramatic gestures. His focus remained split between the current situation and potential exit routes, a habit developed through years of dangerous interstellar travel. The Starlight Cantina's atmosphere had completely transformed. What moments ago was a potential battleground was now a site of unexpected diplomatic resolution. Other human traders watching the scene understood something profound was happening. This was more than an individual action. This was a demonstration of human adaptability, scientific understanding, and peaceful problem-solving. Hana knew her diplomatic report would be extensive. This single encounter would potentially reshape understanding of human capabilities across multiple star systems. Jay prepared to leave. His movements were casual, but perfectly calculated. Every step suggested someone who had navigated complex interstellar environments multiple times. As he approached the exit, the multi-limbed refugee extended a communication device, an invitation, a potential future connection. Jay accepted the device with a simple nod, just another day in the vast, complex universe. The diplomatic meeting room was unlike typical government spaces. Transparent walls showed the distant stars, creating a backdrop of infinite darkness. Jay sat quietly, his utility jacket replaced by a simple dark suit that suggested both professionalism and adaptability. Hana entered with 3 high-ranking diplomatic representatives from different star systems. Their appearances varied. One resembled a crystalline structure. Another looked like a complex network of interconnected neural pathways. The third appeared almost humanoid. "Your intervention was unexpected," the crystalline diplomat communicated through a complex translation matrix. Electronic pulses accompanied each statement, suggesting multiple layers of communication. Jay remained calm. No unnecessary movements, no dramatic explanations. Just a simple presence that suggested decades of complex interstellar experience. The neural pathway diplomat projected holographic data. Jay's drink composition, the molecular neutralization strategy, the complete conflict resolution, all displayed as intricate scientific diagrams. Each projection suggested something beyond standard diplomatic protocols. The drink was more than a beverage, Hannah explained. It was a precise scientific intervention designed to neutralize technological systems without causing permanent damage. Background reports continued streaming. Multiple galactic research institutions were analyzing the molecular composition. Early results suggested a breakthrough in non-violent conflict resolution technologies that could transform interstellar diplomatic strategies. The humanoid diplomat leaned forward. How many similar solutions exist in human technological archives? Jay's response was simple. Potential solutions are limited only by scientific creativity and understanding of complex molecular interactions. Each word carried multiple meanings, not a boast, not a threat. Just a statement of potential human capability. Communication devices around the room began processing his statement. Translation matrices worked overtime, converting not just words, but potential technological implications. The refugees from the Starlight Cantina had submitted detailed statements. Their testimonies transformed the initial encounter from a potential violent scenario into a demonstration of advanced problem-solving. Holographic displays showed the mercenary team's technological systems. Complete temporary neutralization without physical damage. A strategy that violated traditional combat protocols but demonstrated unprecedented scientific precision. Your approach challenges existing conflict resolution models, the crystalline diplomat communicated. Electronic pulses suggested both curiosity and potential concern. Jay understood the underlying message. This wasn't just a diplomatic meeting. This was an evaluation of human potential in complex interstellar environments. Background reports continued streaming. Jay's drink composition represented a molecular breakthrough that could potentially revolutionize multiple technological and diplomatic fields. The neural pathway diplomat projected additional data, molecular interaction charts, technological neutralization strategies. Each diagram suggested something beyond traditional understanding. Humans continue to surprise galactic research communities, Hannah added, her diplomatic training evident. In each carefully selected word, Jay's background file appeared, carefully curated, showing multiple scientific and diplomatic achievements. Nothing dramatic, just a consistent pattern of innovative problem-solving across different star systems. The meeting room's star backdrop seemed to pulse with potential. Each diplomatic representative understood something profound was happening. This wasn't just a discussion about a single encounter. This was an introduction to human potential. The crystalline diplomat made a final communication, an invitation, potential collaborative research, multiple star systems expressing interest. In understanding the molecular neutralization strategy, Jay accepted with a simple nod. No dramatic gestures, no unnecessary words, just a quiet acknowledgement of potential future cooperation. The diplomatic meeting concluded. Stars continued their silent dance outside transparent walls, another moment in the vast, complex universe where unexpected solutions could transform potential conflicts into opportunities for understanding. Jay stood, adjusted his suit, and prepared to leave. Another day, another diplomatic encounter, another demonstration of human capability, just another moment in humanity's ongoing journey through the stars.